Whoa, whoa, whoa. Diddy knows ball. I'm here with my cousin Ross. We finna talk some NFL draft. I'm gonna pick his brain on a couple things, especially Cowboys, but overall, college football landscape, things like that. Ross, what's up, dog?
Hey DJ, how are you?
Oh, I'm good, man. I've been excited to talk to you. You didn't give me nothing the other day. So I want to see what you got going. Okay, first, I did want to ask this. Overall thoughts on this draft? Because sometimes people say it's a weak draft, but I think it's some key positions that I like, and you just got to kind of know how to cycle through them. But what's your overall thoughts on this draft?
hmm I think this draft, you hear the people say it's a weak draft, and I don't want to say it's weak. I don't want to discredit the players, but I mean, traditionally you have about 17 to 20, 22 first round grades, and in this draft, that's just not the case. I think there's about 12, 11, somewhere in that range, maybe 13, depending on what you think about these wide receivers. So it just depends. But the first round grades are a little bit lower, but there's still a lot of depth in this class. You can still find a lot of high talent later on in the draft. I think where this draft really resides, or the strength of this draft, is in that second round. And in that third round, there's a lot of second round graded players that I have on the board, a lot of third round graded players that I have on the board, and a lot of fourths. I
Okay.
think this draft is still strong. It's just not top heavy like your traditional drafts might be.
Okay. So basically, it's a role player, fringe starter type draft. I got this question, Ross, because I think the quarterback class is weak. Because Fernando Mendoza pretty much he's the number one quarterback. I think the edge is weak. I think cornerback is kind of weak, but it's deep if that makes sense. I think safety is strong, linebacker is strong, tight end is low key strong. What are the strong positions according to you, and what are the weak positions according to you?
hmm So just looking at the board, I see that edge linebacker, and edge defensive end, that stretches a bit. We have our nickel corners. I think that stretches a bit into the third and fourth round. Going back to those edges, that stretches into the third, fourth, even the fifth round, depending on what you might want from those players. I think wide receiver has some good depth, maybe not as top heavy as you might want. I think those are the positions that stretch the most: the safety, the corner, the edge, and linebacker. But where you might see this class lack a little bit would be the QBs. You really only have Fernando Mendoza sitting at the top. You have Garrett Nussmeier and Drew Allar, but those are really your third round QBs. You don't really see any seconds on my board. But then we also have like a weak offensive tackle class, and years prior we usually see about maybe three, four, maybe even five offensive tackles that are pretty strong, that you feel pretty confident in that first round, and it's just a little lackluster this year. Now we still might have a good amount of offensive tackles drafted in the first round, but are they first round graded players? I don't think that'll be the case.
And it's interesting you say that because this is how I look at drafts. You figure out where the positions are that are weak, where the positions that are strong, and sometimes you just prioritize the strong positions, even though if they're not as valued as positions like quarterback, positions like offensive tackle, defensive end. This draft, I got three safeties that I'm like, I believe in these guys. Of course, you got Caleb Downs, but I'm high on Dylan Thieneman, and I like Emmanuel McNeil Warren out of Toledo. And I was thinking about it because now let's shift to the Cowboys perspective because that's where I wanted to go.
hmm
Because I'm like, okay, it's three safeties potentially with a first round grade. I got them higher than most people would have them. But in a draft like this, I'm going straight on where is the talent? And I think a lot of draft they don't do this. But in terms of the Cowboys, knowing what we need in the secondary, would it be crazy to prioritize the safety position with that 12th pick? That's really what I want to ask. 'Cause I like Thieneman, I like Emmanuel McNeil Warren, I like Caleb Downs. Am I tripping?
No, I don't think you're tripping. Um, Safety at 12 traditionally is not what anyone really wants to go for. because it's not as valuable as other positions like offensive tackle, quarterback, defensive end, corner. Your money positions. But I mean, in this draft, like I said, there's not too many first round grades, and you always want to go for your first round grades. Your talented people. You don't. I don't really look at positional value that much. I think as the NFL is shifting, these positions that we may have thought weren't as valuable are becoming more valuable. They just might be underpaid. Um, so, like your safety, I like Dylan Thiedemann. I like Emmanuel McNeil Warren. They're good safeties. I like Caleb Downs. I think Caleb Downs is your top safety, and then you have your Dylan Thiedemann, and then EMW. But no, I don't think it's crazy to prioritize him at 12. I personally don't have EMW at 12, and I don't know if I would reach and take him at 12. I would love to have him at 20 though. I
Mm.
like Dylan Thiedemann at 12 though. I think he's a very sound player. I think he lacks a little bit in man coverage. But other than that, I mean, I think he's really rangy. He's got good zone coverage. He's physical. He's fast. He's athletic. He's everything that you would want in a first round safety. He's a little bit more rangy than Caleb Downs. I don't know if he's as cerebral as Caleb Downs is though,
Mm.
so that may be the only difference. He's still probably a smart player, but no, I would still love Dylan Thiedemann at 12, and I think prioritizing safety at 12 is not crazy.
Okay, I got these three prospects for you because it's this. We got to go secondary, in my opinion, based on everything we talked about, like the weak positions versus strong positions. I got Dylan Thieneman, Mansour Delane, and Jermod McCoy. If you were the Cowboys, just okay, we got the 12th pick. We need to fix some secondary issues. Who do you go with at 12 out of those three? Because you said McNeil Warren. I get what you're saying on that. Like, I would kind of like closer to the second, late first. But that 12th pick, I think McCoy's in play, Delane's in play, and Thienemann's in play. Between those three, if you was the Cowboys, where would you go?
I would probably go with the better player, so I'd have to go with Mansour Delane. I don't know how well he fits within this team. Just not him per se, but just
Mhm.
the abundance of corners that you have. Because then you'd have Delane, you'd have the guy you just drafted last year. Um, Forgot his name
I
already.
forgot his name too.
Um,
Didn't look that great either.
yeah, he didn't have the best season last year, but I mean, I think he'll be fine. He was still hurt, dealing with the brace. Um, but you still have him. You have Deron Bland, and then you just signed Kobe Durant. He's on a 1 year deal, but still. So that's four safeties, and then you don't really feel great about really four corners, and that's you don't really feel great about any of them playing in that nickel role. I mean, we've seen Deron Bland play in that nickel role before, but I don't know if we really want him to play in that nickel role, and I don't know if he wants to play in that nickel role going forwards,
Mhm.
going in the future. So I think Cowboys want him to play outside, so that's one. Kobe Durant, it seems like they want to slot him in that nickel role, and he's played it before, but I mean, he's better as an outside corner if you ask me. And then the guy that we just got last year, like I said, I'm blanking on his name. Shalom Ravel. Uh,
Reveal.
he's a bona fide outside corner. So now I think that's three outside corners. You're adding Mansour Lane to that already stacked
Mm.
room. That's another outside corner. I don't know what you would do at nickel, so I don't know how well he would fit. But just in terms as a player, he's probably the best one that I have out of those three.
Okay.
You just have to figure out who's going to play that nickel. Dylan Thieneman can come in, play that nickel role, and you guys would be set. Well, we'd be set. So there'd be no issues there. And then we're already a bit lacking in the safety room, so there wouldn't be too much competition. It would just make sense from a logistics standpoint. And then I would have Jamont McCoy last.
Okay.
I like him as a player. He's probably the best corner in the class just in terms of tape, but the injury concerns are getting to me. I'm starting to see that he may need a whole new, like surgically repaired knee. I mean, it's not the ACL; it's something to do with the cartilage, and that just might take some time. I don't even think he's going to go first round at this point. I think he might have a Savon Ravel slip, and he probably will go day two, maybe even day three, depending on how bad it is. So I'm starting to be out on Jamar McCoy. I think he's a great player. I just don't think that he is just going to be healthy enough to play.
That's a great breakdown, and I'm right there with you. So it sounds like we both want Thieneman at 12.
I like him at 12. I think he's a good player. I don't. I think there's probably better players than him, but I think he would fit into this team more than like a Mansour Delane.
Okay. 20. Now this is where it gets interesting. Depending on who we get at 12, if we go say it's Thieneman, where do we go at 20? Because I ain't go cap. Like, this is probably a crazy scenario, and it's just probably fan talk. But I would think about getting McNeil Warren at 20. Get Thieneman and McNeil Warren. Is that too crazy, or is there somebody else that you would kind of prioritize at 20?
Um, I don't think that's too crazy because we still would. I think in this game we're probably going to need about three safeties.
Mm-hmm.
You're too deep, or you're too deep, and then your nickel. I think Christian Parker wants a safety to play that nickel role. So we probably need about three of them. And we really only have one that we feel really good about. We have two others that can come in and play, but I don't know if I want them, playing long term. Um, I feel really good about Jalen Thompson, really good safety. So if we drafted Dylan Thieneman at 12, I wouldn't mind taking Emmanuel McNeil Warren at 20 and having just that third really good safety. But I think we have other holes in this team, and because the
Okay.
safety is so deep, that we'll be able to find another one that we like later on, maybe in the third round, that fourth round. It even stretches into the fifth, maybe depending on who's there. Um, but I think I would rather go edge. There's
Mm.
it Edge also is a bit top heavy. I think the best edges that you're gonna find would be outside of Ruben Bain and David Bailey and Arvo Reese, if you have them at edge. I think the best edges that you're gonna find will be in that late first round, early second round, late second round. After that, I don't think I personally would want them too much for what I have them trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I would rather go like a Malachi Lawrence there at a UCF. Let me see. Let me
That's
look at my
interesting.
board. I really like Malachi Lawrence. I think he's really bendy edge. I'd rather go a Romello Height, R. Mason Thomas. I don't think that they like Cassius Howe because he's got those short arms.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also think they're out on Ruben Bain. But I would rather go, yeah, R. Mason Thomas, Cassius Howe, Malachi Lawrence, Romello Height. I'd rather go with those people. I would not at 20, but I like Max Llewellyn at 92 if he's still there on the board. Even Harold Perkins, I think he's a good.
Sneaky. That's a
He's sneaky.
sneaky.
He's sneaky. He's a linebacker. He's an edge. I think he can do it both. I think he's better going forward. So he can play that edge, that outside linebacker position. But at 20, I'd rather go Malachi Lawrence and then see if we can get one of these safeties in the third, fourth, fifth round.
And see, it's crazy that you say that because I got to do some work on Malachi Lawrence. That's actually sound like a sneaky pick right there. I'm right there with you in the late, like third, fourth when it comes to these safeties. 'Cause it's so many safeties that I actually like, and I got a Texas bias just because those are the teams I watch. But it's a guy from TCU, Bud Clark, who I like.
Mhm.
It's a guy from SMU. He's smaller, Ahmad Moses, but I think he's a dog. So I'm with you on there. So yeah, maybe McNeil Warren at 20 is a bit rich, but okay.
Yeah, I like Bud Clark too, and Ahmad Moses. They're two good safeties. I'd rather have Bud Clark. I think you could probably get Bud Clark at 92. We'll see if he'll last that long. I mean, I think he will because he's a bit older. But I mean, he's a really good safety. Very rangy. So I think he'll be there at 92 for us. Ahmad Moses, I'm not sure where he'll go. I think he had a back transfusion surgery, so I'm not.
Ooh.
Yeah, or something spinal. I'm not too sure if he'll even get drafted.
And he's like 5'11, so
Yeah.
all that, yeah, that's bad. I'll give him a what they call that, like a training camp invite.
Oh, yeah,
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 yeah, for sure.
yeah. He's really good safety though. I do like him.
I think when it comes to certain stuff, because I understand measurables, but sometimes I like the tape and just the production over years. Like every time I watch SMU, because they got the quarterback Kevin Jennings, he came from SOC, so I be keeping up with SMU, and I'm like, who's this Ahmad Moses guy? And we
Mhm.
gonna get into some of these other guys. Like RJ Maryland was another guy who got hurt, so he kind of don't have a lot of draft buzz, the tight end, and it's just like when you watch certain teams, it's like, yeah, why this guy not generating buzz? And I think Ahmad Moses one of those guys, RJ Miller one of those guys, Michael Trigg from Baylor, the tight end. I think he's one of those guys.
Mhm. Yeah.
So I think this is a deep draft when it comes to certain positions with guys that's not getting a lot of buzz. Anthony Hill. What do you think about Anthony Hill and what would keep him from being that 20th pick? Because I like him too.
Um, Anthony Hill, he's a bit polarizing.
Mhm.
I think he's a really good player. I just have problems with him. I wouldn't say problems. I think he struggles a bit going backwards. I think he's more of a forwards
Mhm.
player. Um, I don't want to compare him to Kenneth Murray because he's not that. He's not Kenneth Murray.
Oh,
He's not
please.
Kenneth Murray. He's not Kenneth Murray. But I mean, I think they're similar because
Mhm.
they're both very athletic. They look good coming off the bus. Like they're what you think a linebacker would look like. But I think he struggles going backwards a bit. Now I don't think he has this the
Hmm.
Eddie
Yeah.
problems that Kenneth Murray had. I think he's probably smarter than him. I just don't think he's been asked to do it enough
Mhm.
at Texas, playing backwards, playing in space. So I think that's most of his problems. I just think that he doesn't do it right now enough at a good enough level for me to take him at 20. So I think I'm projecting out in the future, he's really athletic. He's got the profile. He can blitz. He's good at run defense. I think he's good at all those things. His only problem is that he just is not the best pass coverage linebacker,
Mhm.
and I think that's only because he hasn't been asked to do it enough. And so that's where the comparisons to Kenneth Murray come from me. But I think that he's better up here,
Mhm.
Murray.
It just with Anthony Hill and I want to like Malik Muhammad too. It's like these guys is blue chippers, and sometimes like when it comes to drafting, when it's a draft like this where we don't know who's really going to be good, and it's kind of like role player, friend starter type of draft. I'm looking at the blue chip prospects who we heard about coming out of high school, 5 stars, playing in the SEC, um, and they actually have production, and it's like, could I sneaky like just get lucky with one of these guys like in the second, the third, the fourth? And I'm looking at Malik Muhammad like that too. Anthony Hill, yeah, I'm kind of out on him because I've been hearing that a lot. But me being a Texas fan, I've always kind of like, oh, I like him. He's good. He's good. He's good.
Hmm.
But yeah, the red flags. It seems like everybody has the same red flags. So not 20. And then I'm pretty sure he's gonna be gone by the second, and we don't have a second round pick. So
Yeah, I would love to have him at 30 something,
I
40
see.
something, maybe 50 something if he's there, but I don't think he'll last a 92, and I think 20 is a bit too rich.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, I want to ask about the NFC East overall. Like, who is in the best position to make a leap with this draft in terms of because we just seen the Giants. Now they got 2 top 10 picks. I think it's 2 top 10 picks.
Yep.
And I think the Redskins don't they got a top 10 pick?
Yeah, I think they have 7.
Okay. So in your mind, who has the most to gain from this draft just in NFC East? This is just me as a Cowboys fan be like, oh, I need some, you know.
I think depending on what the Giants do in this draft, they could really do a lot of damage. Um, they have the 2 top 10 picks. They have 5, 10, and then I think they have 37 too. So I
Mhm.
mean, they've got an abundance of wealth in the draft. And like I said, that around that 37 range is where I think this draft is rich with talent, anyways. So I mean, I think they're going to get two. Like I said also earlier, there's only about 11 first round graded players, and they're going to get 2 of them if they're smart. I don't know how good drafting they're going to be.
Okay.
They have John Harbaugh now running the show, and they'll probably be better than they were in years past. But I don't know. We'll see on Thursday if
Okay.
they're going to have to prove it to me. But
Okay.
at 37, I think they also have a good chance to get a good player. So that's 3 picks that they have to improve their team. I think trading away Dexter Lawrence does hurt them. They don't really have the deepest defensive tackle room, but I do still think that they're in prime position to make a pretty good leap if they have a good enough draft. I also think they had a pretty underrated free agency. People talk about them needing a wide receiver like pretty early,
Mm.
but I think that they forget that they also signed Darnell Mooney, and he's a receiver that I believe in him. I think he's got good ability. I don't know if he's exactly Wandell Robinson, if he'll put up the same amount of production, but I think he's Wandell Robinson esque.
Mm.
Um, he's not as
I
tanky as
like Mooney.
not as strong as him, but I mean, I think he does similar things in terms of route running and getting open, being able to play in space. I don't think he's as fluid and be able to break as much tackles as him, but I think the Giants are pretty prime position to make a leap. I think the Commanders are also a team to watch because they have that number 7 pick. I don't know if they have a second round pick, but I mean, they've got ability to take a top 10 player, a first round graded player on my board. So I think that they're also in prime position. I think the Eagles are falling behind. I think they're
I
slow,
love to hear that.
so I'm not even really worried about them.
Okay. So I because did you do a Cowboys mock?
I do some every now and again.
So if okay, we kind of knocked out the first 2 rounds. Now, how could, in your opinion, the Cowboys fill out the later rounds? Where it's like, I feel like drafts are made in that 3rd through 6th round when guys get just guys that can play. So from 3rd to 6th round, do you got some guys specifically for the Cowboys? Because we need a lot of help on defense. Do you have some guys?
Yeah. Um. So let's see. I'm gonna look at my board. Starting in the 3rd round, I think Max Llewellyn. I mentioned him earlier. He's a linebacker edge, an outside linebacker out of I believe Iowa. Um, he's a good option. Um, we also have Harold Perkins. Um, I like him. Keyron Crawford, Josiah Josephs. Um, I'm not the biggest on Zion Young because I don't think he's twitched up. Um, so I think those are good edge options. Bud Clark, as we talked about earlier, um, Kyle Lewis,
Okay.
Keontae Scott, AJ Halsey. Those are also good nickel options. Um,
Oh, Halsey from LSU.
yeah, Halsey.
Oh, yeah, yeah, that's a sneaky one. That's a sneaky one. Okay.
I don't know if he'll be there in the 3rd, but he's a 3rd on my board, and if he is, I think you definitely would want to have him.
Okay. Oh, I got this real quick. 3rd round. Malik Muhammad, Halsey, and Bud Clark. Who do you think would be the best option if they got to that 3rd, 4th roundish?
I think it depends on what you do in that first round.
Yeah.
If you go corner in the first round, definitely go Bud Clark. I still might say just go Bud Clark either way.
Okay. Okay. So you're higher on Bud Clark.
I like Bud Clark. He's a nice rangy safety. I think his only problem is that he's like 25, 24. He's
Damn.
old. He's
Okay.
old. If he was like 22, 21, he'd probably be Fringe first rounder. He'd be somewhere in that range. I think his only problem is that he's old.
I don't mind it though, because we kind of in a win now mode. And
Yeah.
it's like we need guys. Hey, if you can come in and play, hey, you 24, 25, that means you low key a finished product. Come on with it.
Yeah.
So you don't like Malik Muhammad in terms of like 3rd, 4th round. I'm trying not to be biased. That's why I'm asking you, just because he coming out of shock too. And I just think he's just a blue chip guy. I think he was ignored. Because I had a conversation with a guy, and he was like how Byron Jones was. It's like nobody really cared about Byron Jones because they never went that way. And I think Malik Muhammad had some great moments on Jeremiah Smith 2 years in a row. Go look at Jeremiah Smith's stats against Texas.
Yeah.
Hey,
No,
I'm just saying.
I was watching those games. I'm a Texas fan too, but there was also some games I did see him get. I don't want to say picked on, but saw him get exposed a bit. I think he's a similar to Hill, as we were talking about.
Yeah.
I think he's very athletic. Very athletic. You know, he's got good hips. He's twitched up. can move forwards and backwards, all those things. I think his problem is his technique.
Technique.
I think that's where he gets exposed a little bit. I mean, I think he's a good corner, and with CP, he could probably project to be or to outplay his position or outplay his draft stock.
Mhm.
Because I have him in that third round. I think with CP and the coaching that we have, Derek Ainsley, um, Ryan Smith, I think they'll coach him up and give him that solid foundation, and help him get better technique to where he can. You'll probably look back in like 5 years and be like, man, how did Malik Muhammad go in the third round? So I think he's got the ability to outplay that position. It just depends on the coaching. I think we have a good enough coaching staff for that.
Mhm.
I just think right now as a player, like at this very moment, Bud Clark is probably better.
Okay.
That's why I'd have him over him. I have Malik Muhammad in that third round. I think he's a good player. I just have players that I think are better than him at this moment. But like I said, I do think that he will be able to outplay his position, outplay his draft stock, if he goes to a coaching staff that's good enough for him. CP Christian Parker has proven that he's been able to transform corners and DBs
Hmm.
into better players than they were in college. So I do believe in the coaching staff here, and I think they could get that out of him.
Do you like any of the defensive tackles? Because like I was thinking about Peter Woods. I was thinking about Tyler. I can't even say his name. Odienum from A
Yeah.
and M.
Hmm.
And as you can see, I got Texas bias. I'm sorry. It's just those are the guys I'll be watching. But do you think we should take any of those guys? You don't think defensive tackle? Because we got rid of Osa, and
Yeah.
it's like I didn't really like that. How did you feel about that first off? Getting rid of Osa.
Osa's a good player.
Mhm.
Osa's a good player. I don't know if he fits the scheme,
Mm.
and I don't think I really like that because we were told we are going to fit the scheme to the players, but it doesn't really seem like that since we got rid of the players that were good. So it seems like it's more so about the scheme. But I mean, I understand it. I'm not going to hate on it. It just felt like they were going to fit the scheme to the players, as they said. So it made me sad. It hurt me to see Osa go, but I understand it. I think we got good value on him. I think everyone thought that that about a fourth was what we were
Mhm.
going to net back, and we got a third. And that is a late third, but I mean, still a third better than what people thought we'd get. Um, so that hurt me. The D tackles in this draft, I have Peter Woods as the best one,
Mhm.
but I still have him in that second round. I think he's a good player. I think he had his issues this year at Clemson, and I don't know if that was really him. I think it could have been coaching, but it's just what the film told me. And I'm not a scout. I don't have all the information. I can't talk to Peter Woods. I can't talk to the Clemson.
Mhm.
I don't really know um, what went on behind the scenes. I heard that some things happened. I heard that they asked him to lose weight and then gain weight and then lose weight, and then we're playing him out of position. So he'll probably project to be better than where I have him on my board, but I can't really talk to him, so I don't really know exactly what happened. But I have him in that second round, and then under him, I have Christian Miller out of Georgia.
Mhm. Okay, I like him too.
Yeah, and then I have Chris McClellan out of Missouri, and then Oyendem, like you said, out of A&M, and then Rashawn Benny. They'll be third round guys for me. Um, I think this D tackle class is pretty good. I don't know if Dallas really needs one early, just because we're pretty set at D tackle. I know we're kind of looking for that 4 eye, um, a bigger body, and I think you could find that later on in the draft. Um, you could probably find that in the fourth round. If you wanted to go with Brandon Cleveland out of NC State, if you want to go with Daryl Jackson out of FSU, um, Orange out of Iowa State, Tim Keenan, Nick Barrett. I think you can find that in that fourth round, that fifth round. I don't know if we really need one early, but if they did take one early, I would understand it. I just think we have bigger needs.
Okay. So okay, before I let you go, because you gave me a lot of good stuff. Who would you be most scared of if they got Jeremiah Love? The Commanders or the Giants? Because that's been on my mind too. Because I feel like one of those teams go get that guy and it's gonna kind of piss me off, man.
I would probably say the Commanders.
Yeah.
I'd probably say the Commanders. I think the Giants' offensive line isn't as good as the Commanders. I think the Commanders are returning pretty good people on that offensive line. They have Sam Cosmi. They have they had, to be honest, I don't think they have him anymore.
Mhm.
Um, they have Coleman over there. They have a Larry Tunsil. They have a pretty good O line over there. And I think the better O line you have, the better the running back will project to be. And then pairing him with with Jaden Daniels, that's just nasty. Um, I mean, what's his name out of the Giants can run, but he's just not Jaden Daniels. So
Yeah.
I think that'll be pretty scary. And then pair him with Terry McLaurin. I don't think that'll just be fun. Those RPOs not gonna be fun. RPOs, read options.
Okay.
I don't think I like that.
Last question. Okay, I promise. This last question.
Oh, good.
Who is the most overrated prospect in this class in terms of the first round? I'm gonna go first. Sonny Styles. I like him, but it's kind of like the tape and the production. And I've seen a lot of Ohio State, and it's like I don't know if he popped as much as they trying to make it seem. Just me personally. Just you know, you know.
I could get behind that. I think Sonny Styles is a good player. Um, Controversial, but he's a second round player to me.
Thank you. Okay.
See, and I say that because, like I said, I have 11 first round grades. He's 12 for me. I mean, he's still a second round player. He's just the best second round player to me. I think he has struggles in run defense, um, and getting off blocks, and that's probably because he's new at being linebacker. He hasn't played it that long. He'll probably be better at it in the future. Like I said, coaching matters, so we'll see where he goes, and then if he can be coached up to be able to get off blocks and to be able to be better in the run defense, I think his pass coverage is pretty good. A little bit lackluster, but still pretty good. Still better than most linebackers in his class. He's got the size, the athleticism to project and be pretty good. But yeah, second round
I
board.
that combine, I ain't gonna stunt. That put him off the charts, but I think they kind of made him a little overrated.
Yeah,
Oh, you said you had 11 first round grades.
11
Can you
first round
go
boards.
can you go through them real quick?
Yeah. So I have Arvo Reese,
Okay.
Caleb Downs,
Mhm,
um, Jeremiah Love,
mhm,
Ruben Bain.
mhm.
I have Jamar McCoy just because of the tape, but
Okay.
I
His
don't.
tape was crazy.
Yeah, his tape was good. I don't think he'll go in the first round. But yeah, I have Mansour Delane, David Bailey,
Mhm.
Jordan Tyson, Francis Malinois, Malachi Lemon, Carnell Tate, Sonny Styles is my first second round player.
Okay. I'm enjoying this conversation. I'll keep saying this my last question,
I don't know.
but okay, Cowboys.
Mhm.
What do you think is the most realistic scenario that you wouldn't like? Like they might do this and I wouldn't like it.
Oof. I would probably say something like if they were to go if they were to go Falk has to be in there somewhere. If they took Falk at 12,
Oh Lord.
if they took Falk at 12 and then they took a maybe one of these linebackers, maybe not even linebacker because I still think linebackers are good. I don't think they're worthy to be picked at 12. I'd probably say maybe like a Brandon Cisse, um, out of South Carolina. If they took Falk at 12, I wouldn't be the happiest. I would understand it. I don't have him as a first round graded player on my board. I think he's around 32. So he's kind of down there. He'd still be drafted in the first round according to me.
Mhm.
But no, I say that this may be a little phony of me. I do think he can be coached up. We had BT Jordan here, the pass rush specialist that we brought in, um, and then our defensive line coach. I'm blanking on the name, but I mean they're both really good. Their work speaks for them. I mean we've seen BT Jordan what he's done with the Broncos, transform all those pass rushers. Jonathan Cooper, Nick Benito, Zach Allen. Boy, I don't know where they would be today without him.
Yeah.
And then in Seattle, he's done good work there. So his resume just speaks for him. So I'm hoping he can do kind of the same over here. So if we got Keldrick Falk, hopefully he can do something. But just as of right now, he's just not that type of player to me. And I think we need someone twitched up, someone that's going to be able to rush the passer. And then I said Brandon Cisse. Um, I like Cisse as a player. I'm hearing, I don't know if he has the love for the game.
See,
Those,
say the guy from South Carolina.
yeah.
Okay.
And those players always scare me. Reminds me of a boss man fat situation. Um, can't think of his real name, but we drafted him in the second round. I think a couple years ago out of Kentucky, and he just wanted to be a rapper. He just
Yeah, it's
rapper.
crazy.
He didn't want to play corner. He had good tape. I thought he was a French first round player drafted in the second round. Thought we got a steal. He didn't want to play football. He just and I mean that's fine, but it just hurts the team. So I don't know if it's the same situation for Brandon Cisse, but I'm just hearing.
You don't love the game, I'm staying away. I'm staying
Yeah,
away.
yeah,
Like these guys are too good. Everybody is talented. The thing that separates, and I'm noticing this in football and basketball. Who wants it more?
yeah,
Because everybody's getting better at an alarming rate. Like everybody's cold. We see
yeah,
people doing stuff. It's like with the safety position right now. I'm looking at like Thieneman, Caleb Downs, McNeil Warren. It's like these guys in like the early 2000s would have been all pros immediately. Like that's just how good guys are. Now what's separating guys now is who works the hardest, who loves the game the most. I think those are the top two talents outside of skill now. I think skill
yeah,
is third on my list now.
yeah,
I'm looking for that's just how I'm looking at it nowadays.
yeah. It's the mental, and I don't. It could be the fact that he was playing on a bad team and he was just thinking ahead, like, oh, okay, well, I'm gonna get drafted. I'm a good player.
Nope. I'm good.
Mine's already in the NFL. I don't think I really like that. It's not my favorite type of player. That'd be the best excuse that he would have. But even then, I don't really love that. So, I don't know. We'll see what he turns out to be in the league. Hopefully, he'll be able to fix that mindset if that's actually the case. It could be something else. It could be something else. But I'm hearing he's got some issues up there, and that's not my favorite thing to hear ever.
Okay. So before we end, I just wanted to say these things. Great conversation. I appreciate you for coming on.
Of course.
Uh Jordan Tyson, I heard some rumblings that we might pick him in order to replace George Pickens, and that kind of brings me to my problem with the Cowboys and how they approach drafts. Because I think there's a world where we could probably go Jordan Tyson and Jermod McCoy, and that wouldn't surprise me just in terms of our history. We like injured players with high upside, and we like to replace players that we don't want to pay.
Mhm.
Replace players we don't want to pay. Yeah, so I think those are scenarios that scare me the most. I think this is a make or break draft for the Cowboys. This can determine if we get to a Super Bowl versus oh yeah we flamed out again in the first round of playoffs. So I think this is an important draft. And if you are a Cowboys fan, you got to watch this draft with like real eyes and just it's important.
Yeah,
I honestly think this is the most important draft we've had in like the last 10 years. Just because I think the offense is ready to go. That's a Super Bowl winning offense. I think it really is. But that defense, and I don't think the defense is as bad as we are making it seem. The secondary is though.
mhm,
And if we can fix that secondary with what we got on the defensive line, I like what Ezraku was doing later towards the end of the year. I
mhm.
like how Bland started to pick it up towards the end of the year. Overshown, I still think he has a lot of talent. Quentin Williams looks like he really wants to play for us. So if we can fix that secondary, I think we have pieces on that defense. We just got to hit, and we just not can't do the dumb stuff like the Jordan Tyson and the Jermiah McCoy. Even though I like McCoy, I just think we got to go like just do stuff that makes sense. And it's kind of like my final thought on the draft. And everything you said was kind of jiving with what I was thinking. So I'm glad I'm not alone. I'm glad I don't feel crazy.
Oh yeah,
And
no, yeah, I agree. I think this year is a pivotal year. We're kind of in that turning point. Dak's getting older. He's still playing good football, but we don't know for how long. The offense is amazing. We've got good coaches. We're kind of in a 2 to 3 year window, and if you bust on a draft this year, we're not the best at acquiring free agents. So if you bust on the draft this year, it's not looking good in the future. So this year really does matter.
Okay. Ross, any final statements before we get out of here? I'm gonna let you do whatever you want before we get out of here. Say whatever you want, feel, because it's been a great conversation. And I appreciate you.
No, it's been fun. Definitely have to run this back maybe sometime after the draft.
Yes.
But no, I think it's been fun. I think we talked about a lot of good players, and then hopefully we'll be able to talk about them after the draft. So yeah.
Okay. I'm Didi Noseball. That's Ross. We are gone.
Found some shit I love to do, so I can live comfortable. Searching for a peace of mind, need that when it's time to rhyme. Perfect in every line, any chance I get, and I know it takes time, but I will never quit.